Ladies and gentlemen, people are so distracted in this day and age, and they don't even know that they're distracted. And they're losing their minds. They really are. They are not even cognizant of the fact that they are in absolute slavery to their emotions. And they think that they're doing the right thing to make them happy. And yet oftentimes, the validation or the attention that they get from the dopamine rush or the oxytocin release, because oxytocin is the love hormone, right? So it's like anytime they buy this new thing because they're materialistic or anything like that, they start to feel empty again after what they did and what they do, and they feel like they need to do it again and they need to do that again, and it's never enough to fill that void inside of them. And it's like when you are just being who you are, you're not even trying to be a certain way. You're just living true to who you are. It pisses them off because they don't have the emotional stability or control to do those things that you do. What I've come to learn is that people will want to be your enemy for simply telling the truth. And you know what? I don't really mind. I don't mind if I'm your enemy for telling the truth. Because you can keep being bitter and you can keep living life without a zest. You can keep living life in a frame of disloyalty and toxic behaviors. And I'm just going to keep going with people that actually want to be loyal and do not want to get mad at the sacrifice that you've made that they never saw. It's like you have no idea what it took to get here. And the fact that you think that I'm just going to hang out with anybody after getting through what I've gone through, you really must be out of your mind. It's like sometimes when you look into people's eyes like this, it's like you can see the glass house that they've built on the rocky foundation of their soul, and how crumbly it actually is, and how easy it is to be crumbled. Their eyes are hollow, and their words are only speaking in the tongue of deception and deflection. It's not my fault that you don't want to live life better for you. It's not my fault that you think that you know everything, and yet you're still not satisfied with your own life. It's not my fault, nor is it my responsibility, nor is it any of your responsibility to the people watching this, to be around people and surround yourself with people that use certain information to exploit your virtues. That's not something that you need to be around. That's not something that you want to be around. And what I've grown to learn is that loving people harder doesn't change who they are. Now, what matters is the love that you give and just sharing your love like an overflowing cup, right? What matters is just your ability to share. And if you have something quality to share, it's okay to just share it. If you have an abundance of it, might as well. Who is it? Like, why does it matter who exactly you're giving it to all the time? If you have an abundance of it. But for that special treasure that you all have, that special treasure that you all hold in your mind, body, and soul, why in the world would you just give that to anybody? And why would anybody think that they can just give it away and think that they're still valuable? It's like, if you just give gold away, gold becomes it's losing its value over time, right? And it's like, I'll have love for you. I'll have love for women. I'll have love for men. But I will not fall in love with anybody. Especially not a woman. And that's nothing against women. It's just that I know how women work. I'm very well aware of their nature now. I wasn't always this way. I used to be a very blind-sided individual when it comes to female nature, but I'm not stupid anymore. I've learned from my mistakes. And I know sometimes it's better to just turn the cheek, especially when a woman is trying to argue with you. It's like, have you ever seen two women argue with each other? Nobody wins. Like, nobody wins in those situations. Like, men, like, there of course are exceptions, but generally, men and women, the way that they debate and argue are very different. The way that things escalate between men and between women, if they're having a debate of some kind, is, things go south when men start to get violent. But for women, when things go south, it's not always violent. It's attacking your character. It's attacking your reputation. It is using the vulnerabilities of who you are to try to attack your ego as a man. Or as a woman, if it's just women and women debating, they'll destroy, like, how many times, if you want to degrade a woman as a woman, you can simply call her an SLUT or an HOE, right? It's like, you don't hear men telling men that they're hoes. Like, you don't hear men telling other men that they are sluts. It doesn't happen. If you attack a man's ego, his ego as a man, you attack his status. As a woman, you attack her purity. And it's like, how do we not see this yet? Like, how do we not understand that this is what's happening? How do we not understand that men and women are just different? I don't understand how this is even a controversial thing anymore. And I really don't understand why people want to be so well, I do understand why people want to be distracted, but it's like it makes life so much more challenging in the long run. Like today at work, for me, in my daily work life, I was so busy in between meetings and such, and jotting down notes during the meeting and trying to actually make sure I'm getting all my tasks done that I can, because having more meetings throughout the day decreases the amount of time that I'm able to spend on those projects. So it's like I have to manage my time better, but unfortunately I made a mistake. And in some emails that I was sending out, there was one that I missed the attachment on to send to the proper individual. And I don't like making these mistakes, and I don't make these mistakes often, but when I do, it's like I am my own biggest critic. And it's like what it's like I am ruthlessly critical of my performance, because I don't like to make mistakes in which other people are affected by the mistakes that I made. If I make a mistake and only I'm affected, that is much more bearable for me, even though it still sucks. But if I make a mistake and other people are affected, damn, that I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. And it's not too big of a deal, you know. Like I just sent another attachment later after they responded, and they were like, hey, there's no attachment. It's like, oh yeah, here you go. You know, it's not too big of a deal, but it's those little things like that. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So I need to make sure that I'm on point all the time. I'm not here to tell you guys how perfect of a human being I am. I'm flawed. But my message is not always flawed. My message is true as it is to me. As true as I am. As true as I can make it. And that's really all the things that you can do, because sometimes when you're just having a shitty day, sometimes the best thing that you can do is to just accept that the day is shitty, and that makes the day a lot better. Sometimes you just have to let go of things and acknowledge that, yep, that's pretty shitty. And then you move on and you move forward. And then you try not to make that mistake again. But you have to learn from your mistakes. If you do not learn from your mistakes, then you are repeating a process that is called insanity. We all have a way of doing things in this world, one way or another. And it's up to you to decide what kind of person you're going to be. Are you going to be the person that learns from their mistakes? Or are you going to be the person that gets fed up with people and starts to deflect, blame, and refuse accountability? The choice is is yours, and it's up to you to make that difference. Because sometimes at the end of the day, people, like, there are people in this world that it's like only God could save you now. Like, only you could save you from yourself. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. So you have to do what is best, not just for you, but for the good of humanity as a whole. Make the world a little bit more loving and caring, and try not to make any more mistakes than necessary. So with that being said, peace be with you. Till next time.